Welcome to AP Environmental Science. You are going to do your first activity of the school year in this class. It's called Tragedy of the Commons. This is a common theme that you are going to see throughout this entire course. I don't want to give too much of it away because you're going to actually discover what Tragedy of the Commons means by doing this activity today. So in this activity, you are going to see, obviously, in Google Classroom, there are two questions to start off with. These are just engaging, getting you to think about parts of nature that everybody on the planet might share and parts of the community that we all share together. With this activity, it used to be done with marshmallows at tables with straws, but to keep social distancing and to also allow it to be more digitalized, you guys are going to work in groups of 4 on separate boats, and you are going to complete the lab using a common shared document. So if you could click on this and have one person share it out to everybody. This is part 1 of the lab. In part 1 of the lab, you're using a document that looks like this. So each of you is going to be a captain of a particular boat. And if you take a look, you've got your 4 boats in the 4 corners. You have fish represented by the different colored dots in this common ocean that you guys are working out of. There's a timer down here as well in case we can't do this in the classroom as a whole group. It's a 15-second timer. So you have that available to you as well. So the way that this activity is going to work for part 1, each person is designated to a boat 1 through 4 on the Google drawing, and they're going to put their fish that they have caught into their boat. So you're just going to drop the little dots that you guys click and drag over into your boat. Okay. You have 4 fish species that are available. There's the pink, the green, the orange, and the yellow, and they're each worth different values. The pink are 3, green is worth 5, orange is worth $8 at the market, and yellow is going to be worth $10 at market. To gather fish, you're going to use your cursor, click and drag your fish over to your boat. If a fish drops, like maybe you happen to unclick before it gets to your boat, you have to return it back to the ocean. It's considered to have fallen off the hook. You will have 15 seconds to fish, whether your teacher is telling you to start or stop or you use the actual timer in the bottom of the Google corner. Please abide by that 15 seconds. At the end of the season, you're going to fill out the total number of fish caught. So how many fish that were green, yellow, orange, and yellow did you catch? The value of those fish that you caught, and then how many fish in general are left in your ocean. So you're going to be filling out this part of the document by yourself. The other document is a shared document. You can't talk during this process at any point. So even if we are doing this in a Google Hangout breakout room, you can't talk to each other. You have to just go fishing for this first 15 seconds all by yourself. So that's part 1. There's a couple questions to answer at the end of part 1. It gets you thinking about stuff. Did anybody become extinct? Was there a particular technique that you were using, or were you just randomly fishing? We get on to part 2. Here's the shared group document for part 2. It looks very similar to the same one for part 1. The only difference is you have reproduction options. So we'll get to that in just a moment as to how that works, but you're going to start off the same way. Each of you is part of a village, but you're also an individual fisher person, and you are responsible for, maintaining your own family's welfare as well as the villages. So you're going to fish in your ocean for 4 seasons or 4 years. Each fishing season, again, lasts 15 seconds, and you can use that timer again. You have to earn at least $5 each season in order to survive and stay in business. So if for some reason there's a year where you don't make $5, you unfortunately have starved and you don't exist anymore for the rest of the activity. After the annual fishing season has ended, so after the first 15 seconds has ended, any remaining fish are actually going to reproduce. The way fish reproduce, there has to be 2 of them of the same exact species to make 2 more fish. So if we take a look here, if this orange guy survives and this orange guy survives, these two fish can reproduce and make 2 new orange babies. So we would drag 2 new fish into the ocean. Okay? So at the end of every season, you need to make sure that the fish in the ocean reproduce if there are 2 of the same color. Okay? So the person with the most amount of money at the end of the game will have the opportunity to potentially earn some extra credit. Here's the only difference. You can actually strategize. You're allowed to talk to each other and strategize to make this particular part of the activity work. At the end of the season, don't forget you need to fill out how many fish you got, how much money you made at the end of each year, and then how many fish remain in that ocean at the end of each year. Okay? Then you're going to get your groups data. So make sure you record who was in your group, how much they made each year, and the total amount of money they made throughout the entire simulation. Okay? The next remaining questions are pretty simple. Describe what was going on with your ocean. Tell me a little bit about what you guys maybe talked about, if there were any rules, all that fun stuff. And we're going to go a step further here. We're going to go into more detail about what actually is the Tragedy of the Commons. So there are a couple of links available to you. It tells you if the video needs to be looked at a specific portion or spot. So you're going to go through those, and then you're going to summarize what actually is Tragedy of the Commons in 2 to 3 complex sentences. Okay? So good luck. You'll have a couple days to work on this, but we're going to collect data on day 1. Thanks.